All right, what's up, my brothers? We got a requested topic today here. I'm going to read for you guys. He's a multimillionaire, and he's got some questions about fulfillment and happiness, it seems. So let's dig right into it. He said, "Hey, Rich, my name's Eric, 33, currently studying IT finance, live in Sweden, have a couple of issues I'd like to discuss with you." He says, ever since he's been 25, so that was 8 years ago. He's had a pretty crappy childhood and particularly unproductive early life, being on a mission to create a net worth that will not only leave a lasting legacy for my future children and grandchildren, but also push me in the top 1%. I want to command respect and admiration, probably as a consequence of my childhood, which left me with confidence issues. This is going to be an underlying thing for you, I suspect, but let's carry on. In conjunction with this mission, I've discovered investing, which has been my main tool for building my wealth. By 30, I was already in the top 8% when it came to net worth, and now I'm in the top 4%. So I guess I've accrued some success. Dude, that's not some success. Thing is, it doesn't feel like success to me. It should, as I'm ahead regarding my plan to be in the top 2% before I'm 40. So, dude, I'm just gonna, okay. Dude's done the work, and he's accomplished massive amounts of wealth. To give you some perspective, to be in the top 1% of income earners here where I live, I think it's around $300,000 as of 2018. So it's probably over $300,000. I mean, it'll get close to $500,000 within about 10 years here. So the kind of money that you're making and that you're accumulating is nothing to sneeze at. You've done some work. You've obviously gotten great with investing, although it doesn't seem to fulfill you, which I'm sure we'll get to in a second. It doesn't feel like success. I'm ahead of the plan before I'm 40. Okay. When I reach certain milestones, it's like my mind just tells me that it's not really anything to be happy about, which always makes me live for future and never really in the present. Okay, let me talk about that for a second. One of the things that you'll notice, and I'm speaking from the perspective of an entrepreneur, because the wealth that I've created came from businesses. It didn't come from investing. I'm I'm just average at it, if I'm being honest. My average rate of return is anywhere from 10 to 15%. So obviously this guy has got some skills that I don't, so tip my hat to you. But the point being is that if you're always looking at the horizon, if you're always trying to get to the horizon, it's a moving target, right? Because the earth is round. So as you think you get closer to it, it just keeps moving. It's always the same distance away. As a guy, you've got to kind of stop and take a look in the rearview mirror sometimes and just see what's behind you. I wish I was driving the car right now for the visual, but you get my notion, right? I'm often driving, but I wish, you got to take a look in the rearview mirror and see how far you've come. And for me, that's a skill that I had to learn a few years ago, actually. Because I was always chasing. And it's like, maybe it was about 6 or 7 years ago that I figured that out. But it's fleeting. Like it's always moving. It's a moving target. So to answer your question of why doesn't success amount to happiness for me, I suspect that's probably a big part of it right there. That's what I felt anyway. So that's my contribution. That's my own experience as it stands to your ask. It certainly feels like I don't deserve to be happy about what I've accomplished for myself, and I can't figure out why. Let's carry on. I've always been quite successful with women, despite my self-esteem. Surprise, right? Women like dudes with money. However, I always tend to choose the wrong ones when it comes to relationships. So this is a vetting thing. If you guys haven't got my red flag chapter, it's going to be in my book when it's released later this year, pinned in the top comment. Opt into my email list. It's entrepreneursandcars.com/red-flags. I will put a card up on the top right over there. Get on that list. That will help you with the vetting process. The entire book will help you get better results in general when it comes out, but you'll be notified in that list first when it's available. Anyway, so he's picking the wrong women. They always turn out to be nightmares, and granted, I've always known ahead of time that they will be that way. You're kind of expecting it to happen, which is unusual. Maybe you're a little bit jaded. I don't know. You've had 4 serious, longer relationships, one of which she's in right now, and it's always the same. They act entitled, bitchy, controlling, moody, and so on. This is kind of par for the course with a lot of, like a lot of modern Western women today, even in Europe. I mean, dudes in Sweden. It's not that uncommon. It's probably more common than uncommon, especially if they're attractive and higher up on the SMV scale. All of them have later in the relationship confessed to having mental illnesses that they didn't disclose from the beginning. Well, why would they? I mean, they're not going to tell you that they're messed in the head. They always let you find out for yourself, which is, again, gents, why you need to get on my email list to get that red flag chapter. It tells you exactly what to look for. Another great book is Dr. Sean T. Smith's Tactical Guide to Women, which is also pinned in the top comment in my Amazon bookstore. You can check that out below. So, although there have been signs, I've chosen to totally ignore because I think I can work it out anyway. Talk about complicating my life and justifying why I do it. Yep, a lot of guys do that. Talked about that so many times. I'm sure a lot of the women I've dated could have been better for me. Well, yeah, I mean, you make better choices. You're obviously going to get some better results with the ladies. I could have chosen other women, but to let my life, I always choose the bad ones. Why do I do that? Well, my friend, this is where you get on a coaching call with me. Card up on the top right, book one. I need to dive a little bit deeper. So I'm going to take some guesses here, which is me basically trying to throw darts at the side of a barn after being spun around 20 times and I'm off balance. So let's take a quick look at this. Rich guy, I have your link below to your Twitter, so I've seen what you look like in your profile picture. You're decent looking. I don't know what your physique looks like. If you're a strong guy, women obviously dig that. That's always a little bit of an advantage if you've got the V-taper. A lot of guys get confused and they think it's all about muscles and you got to be like big and muscular. It's not about that. It's really about having a V-taper. Women want the ideal ratio is called the golden ratio. It's 1.62 shoulder to waist. You can easily measure it out for yourself, see what your waist circumference is, or just, measure two dots side by side and then do your shoulders, and you know if you're on par for that. But that's one of the best ways to deal with the optics of it, because women, there's no getting away from it. Women just prefer men with that V-taper look to them. So we got rich guy, lots of money, very successful with investing. It doesn't sound like you have any hobbies that you've described here. You've mentioned that you're in IT and finance. You're studying for that. You've managed to crack the code on having your money have sex with its money and make more money, which is great. But you're not indicating what kind of hobbies you have. I mean, one of the questions that I'd ask myself, dude, is I lose track of time when. So what that means basically is 5 hours goes by, but it feels like a few minutes. That's what that essentially means. You're doing something that you love. Like for me, I lose track of time when I'm having conversations with great guys. It's usually hanging out with buddies of mine that run their own businesses, and we kind of jive together in that sense. Going on adventures with friends of mine, if I'm camping in Algonquin Park and doing a canoe trip, like the day will fly by and I'll not even notice it. So you have to figure out what your passion is. Having your money have sex with itself and make more money, that's not particularly fun. For some people, they might enjoy that. It doesn't seem like you enjoy that. I know I don't. I mean, it's nice when it happens and it works out well, but it's not like, I feel like I've accomplished anything significant or it was something that was fulfilling. It's just numbers on a screen. You got to find hobbies and interests that you like to get into. So maybe you've limited yourself to that. I mean, that is all that I can really guess at with the limited stuff that I'm looking at here with what I've read. Sure, a lot of the women I've dated could have been better. Okay, so I could have chosen women, other women to let in my life, but I always choose the bad ones. A lot of the really, really pretty women that come into our lives, especially, successful guys, if you've got bank, it sounds like you don't have any issues with ladies. It's finding ones that aren't going to be problems for you. A lot of the more beautiful ones can bring a lot more problems in your life. I always tell guys a pleasant 7 or 8 is far, far better than a bitchy 10. Okay. You don't want to deal with a woman that's like a perfect 10 that's got borderline personality disorder and all kinds of issues going on in her head. It's just don't bother. Like the juice is not worth the squeeze. It's a plate. Keep them at arm's length, spin it, do whatever you want. But I wouldn't invite those kind of problems into your life. The problem that most guys resign themselves to, which I suspect is probably what you're doing, is they look past all of the problems because it's like, oh, she's really pretty. Oh my God, look at her. Oh, look at that. She's really beautiful because they're girls, right? That's what most guys do. And I've done it myself. And when you get good at spotting red flags, it's, how can I put it? It's almost like a game for me. You know, sometimes I'll watch a TV show on Netflix, some dating thing, and it's like, okay, that's it. I've seen enough in the first 5 minutes here, right? But nobody else, you know, in the room is seeing it. So it's almost like a game when you're good at it. It's kind of like a superpower. You know, you can have fun with it. So I put a little bit of focus on learning that skill. Again, I've mentioned a couple of good resources, especially getting on that email so you read the red flag chapter. I've only been operating under the red pill lens for a couple of years now. So you're new. Okay. You're very, very new. You're 33. So let's assume that you've learned many of these things in the last 2 years. You're 31. You've got 31 years of societal programming that's convinced you, that's got you drunk on the blue pill Kool-Aid. Okay. It's got you drunk on a lot of lies and things that haven't served you. And all of a sudden you've read a book, maybe you read the Rational Male, you've watched a bunch of my videos, and you feel like you've got this new superpower and you're red pilled. And I promise you, you're not. Okay. I'm still very new to this too. There's many times that I have to catch myself reverting back to old conditioning that doesn't serve me. So just roll with it. You know, it's kind of a life choice. You know, you get up every day and you take your vitamins, you take those red pills, and you kind of go on. So you'll learn as you go. You know, you're going to learn as you go, especially as you interact with people, especially women, business transactions, all that sort of stuff. You know, you can apply that lens to a lot of areas of life. So it's quite new to me, says. At least I've noticed that my girlfriend treats me better when I stand up for myself and don't let her treat me like crap. Thanks, brother. That is it. So I think I've given you a lot of good feedback there. I'm not going to cover much else in this one. So if you guys have something beyond what I've added there, beyond what I've read, leave a comment below. Let me know, or let him know what you think. Smash the like button if you've enjoyed watching this episode. And if you do want to make a request for one of these, I'll put a card up on the top right of the screen. You'll land on this page over here, which is just entrepreneursandcars.com/request. And let me just highlight that on the top left. And you fill out this information, you make your PayPal donation, and boom, Jack Shellac, give it a whack. You'll get a response from me, usually within a couple of weeks. All right. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Peace.